The average person lives to about 80 years old. That's 4,160 weeks to be exact. And this poster gives you a visual representation of every week of your life broken down into little squares. The black ones are all the weeks you've already lived, and the white ones are all the weeks you still have left. The first time people see this, they think, holy shit, I'm going to die. And it typically splits people into two camps. The majority of people see it as anxiety-inducing, and they would rather ignore the inevitability of death. But if you're anything like me, you see it as motivating. See, the rest of us feel a powerful sense of motivation. It gives us an urge to accomplish our goals and see it as a reminder to waste less time. And after using this calendar for over 83 weeks now, let me tell you, it still gives me the powerful feeling that I felt the first time I saw it. In fact, I could confidently say that this calendar changed my life. But before we get into that, let me explain the concept behind this thing. What is Memento Mori anyway? Memento Mori is Latin for remember that you will die, and while it's certainly not the most happiness-inducing phrase, it's one of the most powerful. It's a reminder that life is fragile and we could leave it at any moment. Marcus Aurelius even wrote that you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. For one, we shouldn't be living out someone else's dreams or thinking what everyone else thinks, and we certainly shouldn't be considered with pleasing everyone. And if tomorrow is never guaranteed, should we spend so much time working and being away from our loved ones or putting off things that bring us joy? It really makes you rethink the most basic aspects of life, ones that we gloss over or easily forget about. Memento Mori is also a reminder of what is essential. Those little things that piss us off on a day-to-day basis, like getting cut off in traffic, well, those things don't matter in the grand scheme of things, and wasting a single moment on these things only wastes our finite time and distracts us from what's truly essential. All that matters is making the best of each day that's given to us, living our life to the fullest, and in a way that fulfills us. Steve Jobs famously said that I look in the mirror every single morning and ask myself, if today were my last day, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And if the answer is no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. And by no means is 80 years or 4,000 weeks guaranteed. Seneca even reminds us that we must begin at once to live and count each day as a separate life. And that's what Memento Mori is all about. It's about putting things into perspective. It makes you reconsider how you'd like to spend your time, and it allows you to ensure that you make the most out of the days you've been given. So with that out of the way, we could get to the 4 main benefits of having a Memento Mori practice. Number 1, it destroys procrastination. Look, we all procrastinate and put things off and would love to be a little bit more productive. I mean, productivity content is huge. There are countless books and videos and tips and tricks that are all supposed to help, and while we may briefly put them to use successfully, they're very hard to stick with. But there is no more powerful procrastination killer than a reminder that you will die. When you see your weeks physically fading away, it flips the script. Rather than it being difficult to get your work done, it gets difficult to put off. You gain a new awareness and respect for time, making you much less likely to squander it. Leo Tolstoy said, if we kept in mind that we will soon inevitably die, our lives would be completely different. If a person knows that he will die in half an hour, he certainly will not bother doing trivial, stupid, or especially bad things during this half hour. Perhaps you have half a century before you die. What makes this any different from a half hour? Number 2, a heightened perspective. It's easy to get caught up in day-to-day annoyances, offensive comments, rude coworkers, some cuts you off, but these things truly don't matter. Another big hurdle people face is the fear of rejection and failure, but the perceived dangers are greatly exaggerated from reality. I guarantee that when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to remember the guy that cut you off in traffic, and you're not going to care about when Karen was rude in the team meeting. And you will certainly have more regrets about the things you didn't do than the ones that you tried and failed. See, Memento Mori puts all the things that don't matter into perspective. It melts away fears and clears a path for you to focus only on what truly matters. It'll help push you to start that business you've been dreaming of, let go of small annoyances, and it may even get you to say hi to that cute girl in class. Number 3, sustained motivation. If you're anything like me, you have plenty of goals that you'd like to accomplish. Me personally, I'd like to learn how to code, get in great shape, and play the piano. And if there's anything that all goals have in common, it's that they require consistent action. Consistency is what determines success in almost anything, yet it's so hard to sustain over a long period of time. We rely on fleeting waves of motivation that come and go, keeping us in a cycle of starting and stopping things before seeing results over and over again. But reflecting on your mortality removes the need for external motivation. It lights a fire within you to make the most of your time, leading you to sustain action longer than you could before. And because remembering that you're going to die gives you a heightened perspective on life, it cultivates the long-term outlook required to sustain habits in the long run. Number 4, a catalyst for reflection and change. Look, being aware of your mortality may sound weird or scary, but it's an extremely effective catalyst for reflection and change. We all have aspects of our life that we know we should change. Maybe we have a less than ideal relationship, or have friends that are dragging us down, or maybe we got comfortable in a job that we know is not well suited for us. Whatever it may be for you, it's always hard to take that first step. We find excuses that allow us to push things off until tomorrow, and this could go on for months, if not years, and if we're not careful, we could end up forgetting about it and start accepting a life that we don't want to live. But the weekly ritual of filling in a new square forces you to face reality on a regular basis. It makes you reflect on how you spent your time in the last week and gets you to prepare for the week ahead. It forces you to ask yourself, did I do what I set out to do? Did I enjoy how I spent my time? What can I do next week to make it even better? When you have such a reminder of your mortality, you no longer have the ability to push things off. You're forced to face your problems and make the necessary changes. Those are just 4 of the endless amount of benefits one could get from having a Memento Mori practice, but everyone's personal experience is a little different. And for me, it completely changed my life. I used to be lazy and never got any closer to my goals. I imagined this future where I'd have achieved everything I always wanted, yet I never put in the work. I used to be impatient and afraid of failure. I'd start things and never finish, and was never able to put in the consistent action necessary to see success. I used to be worried about how people judged me, and I was hyper aware of how I looked and what I said. I even used to get angry or argumentative when someone said something that I disagreed with. But ever since I started using the calendar, all that's changed. My procrastination problem has all but disappeared because it's hard to be lazy and think that things will magically come together one day when you actively see the progress bar of your life filling up with your situation not changing whatsoever. I've also been more successful with my goals and habits than ever before and find that being consistent has never been easier. I also never have cared less about what people think of me. 2 years ago, I never would have thought I'd be comfortable enough to post videos of myself to YouTube, yet here I am, and when people say something I disagree with, I can easily brush it off, not letting it affect my day whatsoever. All in all, having a Memento Mori practice has given me the push I needed to live the life I always wanted. It's given me the ability to focus like never before, and allows me to disregard all the distractions that life throws at me that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. I think Steve Jobs put it best when he said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment and failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important." Now, it's important to keep in mind that the calendar can't do the work for you, but it will absolutely push you to make the most of your time every single week. And living 4,000 weeks is the best case scenario, but regardless of how many you're given, you get to make a choice. You could let the weeks slip by, or you could make the most of them. So I'm curious, what do you think of the Memento Mori calendar? Do you think it's scary? Do you find it motivating? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.